when they murdered the woman he loved. The king didn't just seek revenge. He hunted her killers. He tore out their hearts. And then he crowned her corpse and made the whole kingdom kneel. This is the story of Inês de Castro, the queen crowned after death. Portugal, the 1340s. A kingdom on edge. A court full of quiet whispers. And a prince who was never supposed to love the woman who would define his entire life. A noblewoman from Galicia, soft-spoken, bright, graceful, and utterly the wrong choice for a prince. Prince Pedro was married, not to Inés, but to Constanza of Castile, a political match. But when he saw Inés, something inside him broke away from duty. This was not polite admiration. This was not a passing infatuation. This was the kind of love that destroys kings. A love powerful enough to split a kingdom. A love dangerous enough to reshape history. A love that would soon reach beyond death. Pedro and Inés tried to hide it, but you can't hide chemistry from a royal court. Stolen glances, late-night walks in the gardens, letters written in secret. Constanza, Pedro's wife, knew. The king knew. Everyone knew. And King Afonso IV watched all of this with growing fear. To him, Inés wasn't romantic. She wasn't charming. She wasn't even a person. She was a political threat. Her powerful family in Galicia could drag Portugal into foreign conflicts. To Afonso, she was a fuse, a spark, a danger. So he tried to separate them. He exiled Inés from court. He tightened security around the prince. He moved her farther and farther away. But love, especially forbidden love, does not follow royal orders. Pedro found her anyway, followed her, visited her in secret. And in the quiet countryside of Coimbra, they built a life together. A life full of hope. A life full of passion. A life full of children the royal court pretended didn't exist. Then came the moment everything changed. Pedro's wife, Constanza, died in childbirth. For the first time, Pedro was free. Free to marry Inés, free to make her queen, free to force the court to accept his family. But the nobles panicked. If Inés became queen, her family, the Castros, would gain influence. Enemies of Portugal could rise. Civil war could erupt. So the court begged King Afonso, "Do something before it's too late." And in the shadows, 3 men began planning an act that would become one of the darkest crimes in Portuguese history. They weren't going after Pedro, they were going after her. Coimbra, January 7th, 1355. Inés is at home with her children. Her world is quiet, but outside, the sound of horses begins to rise. Not one horse, not 2, several, riding fast, focused, purposeful. She walks toward the door, confused, and that's when she sees them, the king's men, 3 of them, armored, determined. And instantly, Inés knows exactly why they're here. Her children are inside, Pedro is far away, and there is no one, absolutely no one, coming to save her. The men tell her they have orders. They don't say from whom. They don't have to. Inés begs for mercy, not for herself, for her children, and for a moment, one of the men hesitates. But hesitation is not enough to stop what's coming. A decision is made, a blade is drawn, and Inês de Castro, the woman a prince loved more than life, is murdered in her home. Her children watch. When Pedro hears the news, he doesn't cry, he doesn't scream, he doesn't collapse. He becomes something cold and silent and terrifyingly focused. Pedro demands justice, but justice is not what he wants. He wants revenge, personal, violent, unforgettable. He orders a manhunt across the entire kingdom, And when two of the killers are finally caught, Pedro reminds Portugal that he is not just a grieving man, he is a king. Chronicles claim he ripped out their hearts, one from the front and one from the back, because that's what they did to his. Was it literal, symbolic, exaggerated? We'll never know. But what we do know is this wasn't justice. This was royal revenge. Months later, Pedro becomes king, and in his first major act, he does something no one expects. He announces that he had secretly married Inês before her death, which means, legally, she was queen. Not a mistress, not a lover, not a scandal queen, but a queen who was no longer alive. And here is where the legend truly begins, because according to the chronicles, Pedro ordered her body to be brought into the throne room, dressed in royal robes, placed upon the throne she never lived to sit on. And then, he forced the nobles to kneel and kiss the hand of the dead queen. Whether symbolic or literal, the message was unmistakable. You took her from me. Now you will honor her forever. Centuries pass, but the legend remains. Inês de Castro, the woman who should never have been queen, becomes the most famous queen Portugal ever had. Not in life, but in death.
That's the end of this video. Would you like to see more of it? I hope so. Let me know in the comments.